What is going on, guys? We are back with another video, and I haven't really posted a update video or any of that kind of stuff in a while. Team MVPs might be coming out today. There might be a confirmation already. It kind of feels like today. So what I decided to do, which I don't really do too often, is maybe predict them. My list, I think, is pretty good. I think it's pretty good. But the number one guy here for the Bears, I think, obviously I'm basing this off of performance. I'm basing this off of if they've already had a card. Are they due for a card? Just stuff like that. What makes sense. Maybe not stacking too many of the same positions. But Jerrell Freeman, I think, is a clear-cut, easy choice here. The Bears don't really have a whole lot of talent to work with. I don't think they would go full-blown Jeffrey here. He really doesn't even deserve it anyways. But overall, I think Freeman's the choice here because 110 tackles is pretty damn good. So now I think another kind of easy one, just based off of who won't get a card, basically, in my opinion. I think it has to be perfect. Eifert's not going to get a card, I don't think. Geno Atkins, I don't think he would get a card. Whitworth's not going to get a card. AJ Green for sure isn't going to get a card. I guess Zeitler, but he's not even on their team anymore. But Perfect, he seems to always get some sort of card like this. 101 tackles, 2 sacks and 2 picks. That's very worthy. It's even better than Freeman. Now, I know it's not crazy production, but I think Charles Clay might get a card because it seems like, once again, just like Perfect, every year he gets a card. And I don't think he has a decent one this year other than like a team of the week, which is very old. But Charles Clay, not crazy, but you got to remember tight ends don't have the craziest numbers, and he is a really good blocker. So 57 catches, 552 yards, and 4 touchdowns. I think that's decent enough. So moving on to the Broncos, I know he's very far down, but I think Shane Ray might be the move here. 8 sacks, 48 combined in his second year with the Broncos. For the Browns, I think it's a clear-cut choice of Isaiah Crowell. He had just barely under 1,000 yards rushing. He had 952, ran 198 attempts, so that's a pretty decent. I don't know exactly off the top of my head. That's probably about a 4.7, 4.8 average, which is really good. 7 touchdowns as well. I think if Terrell Pryor didn't just get a card, I think that would have been the play there. Jamie Collins, I don't think has qualification for this. Maybe Kirksey. Now, for this one, it's a little tough, but I think it's going to be Brent Grimes. He had 57 tackles, 4 picks, and a touchdown. Not sure his totals for fumbles or any of that, but you can see he's actually really solid overall here, even though he's 33 years old. Now, for me, this one's very easy. Calais, not on their team anymore. Could get the card, though. He's my second choice here. Larry, no chance. Patrick Peterson, very low chance. David Johnson, very low chance. Maybe Tony Jefferson. I haven't seen what cards he has, but I think it's Chandler Jones for sure. Could be Tyron, but a very good chance Chandler Jones because 49 tackles and 11 sacks, and I think they just paid him a ton of money to stay on the team. So I actually had Melvin Gordon as my pick here, but I forgot they made a season star, so I think it's going to be Melvin Ingram just by process of elimination. Joey Bosa has a MVP card. Well, you know what I'm saying. Got an honors card. 60 tackles, 8 sacks, and I believe, once again, another re-sign this year. So, just off a process of elimination, I would think it's Travis Kelce. He had 1,125 yards and 4 touchdowns, and his last card was a Team of the Week card, I think like week 10, anywhere from 10 to 13-ish. So I think the guy, it has to be Kelce. It's one of their top players, and very fitting for this. This one might be dead on. I really don't have the means for this one to really prove it to you guys, but I think it's Anthony Costanzo, as he played all 16 games for the Colts. And the Colts, sorry Colts fans, but you guys have one of the worst rosters right now by far. It could be Vontae Davis, but I think it's going to be Anthony Costanzo because, once again, I look at who doesn't have a card, who probably deserves a card, and what position is kind of needed on the list, which is really ironic I mentioned that because I don't know. It's tough. This is another, one. The real hard teams to really decide are the teams that have really great players. I would think it's Tyron Smith. I know he's a really top-tier player, but that's kind of what some of these, this promo does really seem like one of those not the top name guys. He only started 13 of the games, but he's always a top tackle. He's like always like number 1, number 2. Unless they do a kicker, it could be Dan Bailey. I don't know what kind of cards he has, but maybe Dan Bailey. He had a great season. I think this one also another no-brainer. It's got to be Jay. It has to be. He had 1,272 yards rushing, which comes out from his 260 attempts, comes out to about 4.8 again, 4.9, maybe 5? Nah, not 5. Could be a 5.0. And 8 rushing touchdowns. I don't know the receiving yardage, but he did have 27 catches, which is pretty decent. So in his second year, he was really damn good. So this one I think is, I was going to put Lane Johnson, but he really didn't play this year. I mean, he's the most fitting of an upgrade, but obviously, I mean, you can't just get one for nothing. So I think it's got to be Malcolm Jenkins. He hasn't had a card in a while. 72 tackles, 1 sack, 3 picks, and 2 touchdowns. Not sure his forced fumble total. Probably decent, actually. Has got to be the card, especially considering I don't think I have too many safeties on my list here. Now, this one, I was going to go with Trufant, but I don't even think he played much. He'd be one of those guys, again, that deserves an upgrade or might deserve an upgrade. But I think it's Alex Mack. I think it has to be. I don't think I have a center on my list. He played all 16 games, and he's got a 91 overall on Madden. He's got to be pretty decent. I think it's got to be Mack here. I don't know if he's going to be on the Niners. I think the Chiefs are looking to sign him. But I think it's going to be Gerald Hodges here. Not a whole lot of talent here for the Niners. We just rebuilt them realistically. A lot of people had a lot to say about that. But I think the clear-cut choice here has got to be Gerald Hodges. Filled in for the, I believe, injured Bowman. 83 tackles, 3 sacks, 2 picks. I think we do have a couple of middle linebackers on the list, so I don't know. I don't really see how you could go any other way. There's not a whole lot to work with here. For the Giants, this is really another one of those process of elimination type deals. EA loves to hand out I can't believe I just said hand. I'm very sorry, pal. But they love to hand cards to JPP as well. Not that he doesn't deserve them, but 7 sacks, 53 combined tackles, coming off of what most people were going to say that, he was going to be garbage because of his hand, whole hand issue. But he had a pretty decent season. And once again, process of elimination gives us maybe him and 1 or 2 other players. So I think it's going to be JPP. Simple. So here, not a whole lot of talent to work with. But once again, process of elimination, I think is going to be Malik Jackson. I don't know if we have a DT on our list yet. I mean, he had 33 tackles, 6.5 sacks, which isn't actually all that bad. I mean, that's pretty similar to what he did for the Broncos when they already have crazy talent around them. Now, for this one, we just came back from a DT. It's going to be another one. Leonard Williams, I don't think he has a decent card in the game other than the color rush one, if I'm not mistaken. He has 68 combined tackles, 7 sacks along with it. A very young player, so, I mean, I would assume it's him. I don't really see where else it could be. Now, for this one, I'm going to use process of elimination again. Golden Tate, I do think he could also get it, but there's no quarterback on my list yet. I think it's going to be Stafford. His best card in the game, I think, is a 92 overall. He had 4,327 yards, 24 touchdowns, 10 picks, a passer rate of 93.3, and he completed 65.3% of his passes. Maybe Marvin Jones, though, because he actually did have a really good season. I would give it between him, Marvin Jones, and maybe a squeak Theo Riddick, but I doubt it. I think this one's a clear-cut one as well. A lot of these guys already have cards, but I think, where the hell is he? Nick Perry. Nick Perry, 100%, in my opinion, the card for the Packers. I really hope it is, too. 52 tackles, 11 sacks, and a pick. And he was playing with that messed up hand all year. I can't remember what happened to it. Probably broke his thumb or something, but he had the club for most of the year, for a good portion of it. And he just got a huge contract in free agency from the Packers. So my favorite team, I think, gets Nick Perry here. So now this one was very tough for me because I thought it was going to be a clear-cut Thomas Davis, but they did give him a position hero. Now it's tough because I already have a lot of running backs. I would say Jonathan Stewart, but I'm leaning towards Kelvin Benjamin. Jonathan Stewart, he averaged 3.8 a carry, which is kind of what's, pulling me back a little bit here. But 824 yards and 9 touchdowns. Kelvin Benjamin, on the other hand, did have 941 yards with 7 touchdowns, which is actually a pretty damn good total. So I think with the fact that we don't have a ton of wide receivers on this list, if any, I actually am going to go with Kelvin Benjamin as my choice. Now, this one's a little tough because he already got a card, but I think it could very easily be LeGarrette Blount. Once again, a lot of running backs on my list, but 299 attempts, 1,161 yards with 18 touchdowns. But it also, just for process of elimination and position need in this promo, could also be Logan Ryan. 92 tackles, 1 sack, and 2 picks. I'm leaning towards Logan Ryan just for that simple fact of, for one, I don't even know if he has a card that's even elite. Logan Ryan has a Team of the Week card. I have no idea what week it was. Yeah, I have no idea what week it was. But I think it could be Logan Ryan, and I'm going to lean towards him just for the fact that we have, there's already a LeGarrette Blount card that's kind of recent. It's decent. And yeah, I don't have any cornerbacks on my list if I'm not mistaken. So now for the Raiders, this is actually a really tough one. I don't know if Assembly has a card, but that's going to be my choice. Ooh, now I think he has a season star, man. Oh, that's tough. I'm going to go with Emerson. I think it's going to be Emerson then. Emerson hasn't had a card in a while. I think he actually did have a pretty decent season. Sorry if some of these are on the fly. Probably should just edit it out. 68 tackles, 2 picks, and I don't know how many fumbles he had. I really should have looked that. I love me some quote-unquote bad teams. I think this one's going to be Kenny Britt. Once again, not a ton of wide receivers on my list. I think he's going to the Browns, or did he already sign? I think he signed with the Browns already, but 68 catches, 1,002 yards with 5 touchdowns for the Rams. One of their better players. Not that they had a lot of decent players, but definitely Kenny Britt in my opinion. Unless once again he got a card, which is really cock blocking me. Oh, he got a season star. Suck a dick. He's still going to be it. I don't care. So now this, I think Weddle did get a competitive card. I don't know how old that is. Probably rather old, but I think it's going to be Eric Weddle here for the Ravens. 89 tackles, 1 sack, and 4 picks. Kind of later in his career. He's still balling out. I think Weddle gets the card here for the Ravens. Now this one's tough. We're starting to accumulate a bit of wide receivers on our list. It's going to be between Ryan Kerrigan or Deshaun Jackson. I think I'm going to go with Kerrigan on this list. But Deshaun Jackson, 56 catches, 1,005 yards, 4 touchdowns. I believe he did sign with the Buccaneers, so I don't know if that'll affect anything. They've probably had these cards made quite a bit ago. But Ryan Kerrigan's stats, 33 tackles, 11 sacks. So this list was actually really hard for me for the Saints. I don't know if they would go with a punter. Could be a punter here. I know the suspension, but I think Kenny Vaccaro. So he was 68 tackles, 1 sack, and 2 picks. I'm not saying these cards have to be absolutely insane because some of the players... Well, Kuhn, though. What about Kuhn? I'm going to say Kuhn or Vaccaro. My main pick's going to be Vaccaro. I know he had a suspension, but I don't see another player that they give it to. So not that he wasn't great or anything, but process of elimination gives me the assumption of Doug Baldwin. 94 catches, 1,128 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Michael Bennett was another thought, but I don't think he had too great of a season this year. So I'm going to go with Doug Baldwin here as another wide receiver choice. So another tough one. All the good teams are actually really tough. But I think we're going to go at Marcus Gilbert. I think Marcus Gilbert is worth it because he started 13 games, played 13 games. I was going to go with James Harrison, but he got the Super Bowl card. So once again, process of elimination. Gonna go with Marcus Gilbert on this pick. So we have a bit of pass rushers already. I don't see them giving the choice to Clowney. I was gonna go with Lamar Miller because he had a pretty decent season, but we already have a lot of running backs. So I'm gonna go Whitney Merciless here. 53 tackles, 7.5 sacks. Pretty decent, but he was a little quiet. It wouldn't strike you that he had a decent season. But I think he's pretty good. I hope he didn't get a card recently because some of the people I just assumed they didn't have a card. So I think, now that I'm looking at my list, I'm starting to think that the reason I might be wrong with a lot of them is because of the simple fact of too many positions being used. But I think we have a lot of good choices. This one's between Delaney Walker and Arakpo. If we have if we have 2 or more tight ends already, I don't want you to take my Delaney Walker suggestion seriously, But Arakpo, 46 combined tackles, 10.5 sacks. Really solid season by him. And then Delaney Walker, who seems to get cards all the time. 65 catches, 800 yards with 7 touchdowns. And obviously we know he's a very solid blocker. Now this one, we are on to the Vikings, which it's a little bit of a tough choice. Once again, there's a lot of different names that you could easily see get it. Okay, where the fuck am I here? I'm willing to think that it's Everson Griffin, 48 tackles with 8 sacks. But you also do have Anthony Barr, who had 70 tackles with 2 sacks. Could also be Linval Joseph. But he did have a lot of cards this year. I would lean towards Anthony Barr just because it's another coverage linebacker. We've seen a lot of pass rushers on my list. I'm going to go with Anthony Barr on this one. Would be insane if it is. Another thing, very, very sorry. I probably mentioned this in another video today. Not sure. But the franchise video for this week would have been amazing. But my Elgato crapped the bed, which is crazy because I haven't had that happen in a long time. And it just so happens to be the game of the year in the franchise, which is so disappointing. I'm going to let you know the results right now. We won by 6 in overtime from a walk-off pick 6 from like 40, 50 yards out. I don't remember. It sucks. I let everyone down watching these videos on the channel and in the league. A lot of people wanted to see it because we were getting crazy in the chat. Sucks so much. Will not let that happen again. It really, really does blow. The score was 23-17. I'll end up showing the stats next video, which I believe will be on Monday. Really sucks once again. Sorry about that. You probably won't hear from me again until if they do actually release the team MVPs. Or team MVP. That's the promo. Team MVPs later today. Or you'll see me in the DC video of Draft Champions. We have a really good video there. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you thought of the predictions. And I guess we'll see whenever this promo drops. And for anyone that wanted to, was hoping to see a free agent video from me or something on the stuff that happened today, sorry, but I mean, I have the ESPN app. I don't need to be hungry for views and make videos like that. If you get where that reference is from yesterday, just say, I know. Just so you know, I'm joking. Because it's funny, if you follow certain people's Twitters, you know what I mean. Shout out to Rain and Ravens and his program over there, which is obviously great. Take a look at that. But yeah, we're going to get out of here. It's probably like 2 a.m. in the morning, whatever. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you come back from the next video, which is going to be a long time from now, very many hours later. But yeah, until next video, see ya.